welcome to the 2020 Ephrata Football Senior Recognition and Awards video. Typically at this time of the year, we are joined together at a banquet facility to celebrate our season and to celebrate our seniors. Unfortunately, at this time, we are not able to do that. Hopefully in the spring, we'll be able to get together and celebrate the season as an entire group. But this coaching staff and myself thought it was important that we put something out about our normal banquet time so we can recognize each individual for their outstanding seasons. I'd like to thank a few people who made this video possible. First off, Missy Mortimer. She did an outstanding job this year as our team photographer, and I appreciate that she allowed us to use some of the pictures of our seniors and our award winners to add to this video. I'd like to thank the coaching staff for taking their time to make these videos and talk about all of our seniors and to present our awards. So without any further ado, please grab your favorite football player, sit back and enjoy the 2020 Ephrata Football Senior Recognition and Awards video.
Other starting outside linebacker, Owen Moringello. Owen came into the 2020 season as a returning all-conference player at both tight end and outside linebacker, in which last season he only was able to play in 8 games due to injury. His junior year, he contributed with 71 tackles, and 8.5 of those were for a loss. Just like Juanas did this year, Owen also outperformed his junior season this year, compiling 82 tackles, 9.5 for a loss, and 2 forced fumbles. Also, while playing tight end, Owen contributed with 6 catches, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Almost every time Owen stepped on the field, he was probably the best all-around football player out there, whether he was on offense, defense, or even special teams. While Owen was playing tight end on offense, I was fortunate to have a front row seat to watch him dominate at the position. Most blocking tight ends tend to go unnoticed, but not Owen. He was always out there putting his opponent on their back while blocking. And even after knocking down the first defender, he would be then going to look for a second or third to knock down to help spring our ball carrier for an even bigger play. Now on defense, he was practically unblockable. I remember many plays where he would be able to avoid multiple blockers and still be able to make a tackle for a loss. One of those plays being the safety that he had early in the game against LS, which gave us an early lead in that game. There are many great plays that Owen has made throughout his career that could not possibly be coached, such as plays that include him tackling ball carriers with one arm and throwing them to the ground like they're rag dolls, or even tackling the blocker and the ball carrier at the same time. At times it seemed like many teams avoided running to Owen's side, but that still didn't matter. He would still go run down the ball carrier from behind and sometimes even still make a tackle for a loss doing it that way. Also, there were times where Owen may have lined up incorrectly on the defense and would have to fight his way back to the correct side and still be able to make the tackle.
Taj London. I wasn't sure what to expect from Taj at the start of the season, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. Last year, Taj suffered an injury that sidelined him for the remainder of the year. Whenever that happens, people will have some reservations about how you will handle that first hit the next year. I know, because I've been there. When I was a sophomore in college, I broke my leg. Coaches, teammates, friends, family are unsure of whether you'll be able to play again, bounce back to where you were, or they're just worried about you. As a player, there are 2 ways that you can handle this. 1, do what you have always done and expect things to work out in your favor. Or 2, you can work your butt off tirelessly in the weight room and on the field when no one is watching and prove to yourself and to everyone else that you are back stronger than ever, both mentally and physically. When we started the season, I could tell Taj picked the second option. He was making plays offensively and defensively, not shying away from contact and stepping out to make big plays where the season before he might not have. He finished the year with 17 catches for 257 yards and 2 TDs. He averaged 15 yards per catch. One of those TDs, he successfully showed that we are able to execute a rocket or launch screen for a big play, taking it to the house against Catholic. He also helped our quarterbacks on multiple occasions by his ability to adjust his routes in the scramble drill and make big plays for us that resulted in first downs. Taj, I am extremely proud of all your hard work and leadership this past year. I wish you nothing but the best. If you ever need anything, don't ever hesitate to reach out. Thank you. Marshall Mondo. I really enjoyed coaching Marshall these past 3 seasons. He's a very happy-go-lucky young man, and he's very coachable and does everything you ask of him, always with a smile on his face. I will never forget your sophomore season when we were down at Peckway and you had your first varsity catch. Just to see your joy and excitement as you jumped up and down after that catch was a pretty cool thing to see. Obviously, COVID threw a lot at us this year. As an offense and as a team, we didn't really get the reps that we would have liked with things getting canceled 7-on-7 and team camp at Millersville. So with this year, we went with a 22 personnel grouping for a lot of games. This particular grouping is not very receiver friendly. We only have one receiver in at a time and then one slot. So it's hard on the receivers. They don't get the reps that they want or that they deserve because we only have one receiver in. So it's not the easiest thing for them, but Marshall never let his disappointment show in his attitude or with his play on the field. He always showed up to practice, worked hard, showed he belonged, and showed that he did deserve minutes when his time came, when his number came. As a coach, we like to see our players improve every day. I am a firm believer in the motto that you either get better or you get worse every day. You never stay the same. And Marshall, you improved every day that you were with the program. From blocking to catching and running crisp routes and setting up the defender to put them in a bad position defensively. It was a pleasure to see you grow as a player these past 3 seasons and as a person. I wish you nothing but the best, and if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I hope all is well and y'all had a happy Thanksgiving. Today it's an honor for me to talk about senior do-it-all player Brock Boyer. Brock is a talented athlete on offense. During the season he had 30 touches for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. As a defensive back, he was in on 41 tackles, 3 interceptions, and caused 1 fumble. Brock punted for us, 39-yard average, and his long punt of 60 yards. Also kicked off for us, did a great job. Not always sure where the ball was going to go, but he kicked it far. Brock, you stink. Now people might be saying, why should I say that about our first team all-section wide receiver and defensive back? Well, because he told me to. Now, the language might have been a little stronger than you stink, but Brock said, I do better when people tell me I'm not very good or other people are better than me. So there were times where I just turned to him and said, Brock, you stink. That was his motivation. That's what, gave him that chip on that shoulder to perform the way he did. I gave you a list of all the talented things, all the things that he had accomplished during his football season, but the thing that was more important to me was his effort. He was a true gamer on the field. We look at film and grade it. Did the player make the tackle? Did he make a pass play? And the third component, effort. Brock gave supreme effort. And the years that I've been coaching, I've never had anyone get a higher film grade as far as effort. There would be times where he's on the football field, he's straining to get to the football, as people are making tackle, you never know when that ball's going to pop loose or the ball carrier might break loose. Commend him for his efforts. Just a fantastic job there. He had a 99% effort grade, which is awesome. It's been really proud to be your coach for these last couple of years. You're one of the best defensive backs I've ever coached and one of the best secondaries I've ever coached over 30 plus years. I'd be proud to help you out, give you any advice. We had a little talk on girlfriends there. Continue that if you need any help. Be glad to write you any kind of a reference based on your efforts and your work ethic, and not just on the football field. Anywhere in life, anything you want to accomplish or anything you want to do in life, you give that kind of effort, I'm sure Brock's going to be very, very successful. I believe he's going on attempting to get into that Happy Valley school and pursue an engineering career. And like I said, I'd be glad to write you a letter of recommendation. So, Brock, once again, you stink. And I hope you continue to stink, because if you work as hard as you did, you're going to be successful in everything you do. It's an honor to talk about you and to have coached you, and I wish you the best in everything that you do. Thanks, Brock.
Hi, everyone. I'm Coach Frank, coach of quarterbacks, and get the pleasure to talk about our senior quarterback this year, Miraclerato. Miracle didn't play quarterback the last 2 years. We actually had asked him to be one of our running backs along with Richard, and super appreciative of Miracle's willingness to take on that role. Him and Richard were two dynamic backs those 2 years, and Miracle was too good not to play somewhere. And not sure he gets the credit he deserves for being the team player and stepping into that role. So Miracle, first, thank you for the past 2 years. As we moved into a senior year, a little different off season that everybody experienced, with no spring ball, no summer camp, no team camp, and just workouts were even different. We were limited in what we were able to do. So as you know, it was kind of an up and down year. Miracle won the job, ended up having an ankle injury that set him back a couple weeks. Faced some tough times in the middle of the year. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing, but there was a time where he was frustrated, and as everybody goes through, it's unprecedented times, and things weren't going the way he wanted. And he had a real conversation with Coach Miller and myself, and we kind of laid some things out plainly. And looking back as a coach, I couldn't have been prouder of how he handled that situation. He came back the next day with a fantastic attitude, stepped in on scout team and took every rep. I'm not sure too many senior quarterbacks would be willing to do that. So you could tell he laid his pride down and did everything that we asked him from there on out. He ended up having a really nice season. Threw for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Had another 150 yards rushing and added another 4 touchdowns on the ground. So he was definitely a very important piece of what we were trying to do offensively. From a football perspective, wish we had those last couple games. I think he was finally getting really comfortable, but was happy with the time I had with Miracle playing quarterback. I know I'll try to keep it short. We have a bunch of seniors here, but just Miracle was one of the most unique individuals that I've had the chance to coach over the past 5 years, and every day, just his personality, his when he's joking around with his teammates, there's something that just you like to be around a guy like that. And I know when Coach Miller weighed about 50 pounds more, Miracle would always joke with him when his shirt was out and call him Big Papa Mills. So just always loved his joking character as well. I think Miracle is going to try to pursue a career in the military when he leaves Ephrata, and I know based on what happened this past fall with the adversity and his ability to fight through that and persevere, I'm confident that whatever Miracle chooses to do, that he can look back on this time in his senior year and say, when times get tough, I've been there, and it's worth coming back and worth fighting for, and he'll be better off in those situations. I'm confident of that. So, Miracle, thanks for everything you've done for this program. Thanks for everything you've done to make me a better coach and make me a better person, and understanding your background, and it's been an honor to coach you. We'll miss you. If you need anything in the future, I would say my door's open, but it's probably just easier to pick up the phone and give me a call, because I'll always answer for you. So thanks again, and good luck in the future, Miracle.
Zach Juanas. Now, Zach may not have been the biggest player on the field, but that would never stop him from going toe-to-toe with any opposing player, which included some huge offensive linemen. I never saw Zach back down from any opponent, even if sometimes it was slightly after the whistle was blown and it may have drew a personal foul. Zach's junior year, he was a huge contributor on the defensive side of the football. At the linebacker position, he contributed with over 50 tackles his junior year. Even though this season was cut short, Zach still managed to raise the bar this year. His stats this year were 80 tackles, including 3.5 for a loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 4 fumble recoveries. There were times where ball carriers appeared to have a wide open hole and be ready to hit a big play on us, and within a blink of an eye, Zach would be there making the tackle and putting the ball carrier on their back for a tackle for a loss or a very minimal gain. Zach really had a nose for the football. Even if he was not making the tackle, he was most likely the second guy there, helping bring down the ball carrier, or even trying to force a turnover. One of Zach's many great games this year was when we went down to Sun Valley on 36 hours notice. Zach contributed in that game with 2 huge turnovers. The first being a fumble recovery on special teams early in the game, which helped give the ball back to our offense to help them maintain their drive. Zach's second forced turnover was a big interception inside our red zone that prevented Sun Valley from potentially taking the lead in the second half. Not only was Zach a great linebacker, but he was a tremendous special teams player, including being the starting snapper on special teams, where multiple times he was the first guy to run down the field and cause or recover a turnover for us. Also, Zach contributed on special teams with huge tackles and big blocks that would help spring our returners for big plays. I would like to congratulate both Zach and Owen on outstanding senior seasons and all their postseason awards. I wish them nothing but the best at wherever their future may take them. Lastly, I would like to congratulate the whole senior class on a great season and a tremendous career.
All right, Richard Greer. Richard this year was a running back and linebacker. He's also played defensive end in the past. Technically B back this year as running back. Has played a little bit of A for us as well, and going back to his sophomore year, kind of did a little bit of everything for us. Richard finished his senior year on offense with 91 carries for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, along with 21, 4 receptions for 37 yards. Defense, he had 7 solo tackles and 13 assists. For his career, Richard finished on offense with 243 carries for 1,130 yards, 14 touchdowns, along with 42, an additional 18 receptions for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. And on defense, he finished with 57 solo tackles, 50 assists, total of 107 tackles, of which 13.5 were tackles for loss. He had 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hurries, 1 pass defended, 1 blocked punt, 1 fumble recovered, and 2 forced fumbles. Richard did a little bit of everything from 10th grade on up. As soon as he was a sophomore and stepped foot on the football field, he was willing to do whatever to get on the football field. Started at linebacker as a sophomore, and out of necessity on offense, we moved him to a little bit of A to get him on the field. Before some injuries, we moved him back to B as a sophomore. Junior year, voluntarily moved down to the defensive line, played defensive end for us, and did a solid job, as well as being one of the rotators at B-back. His senior year, moved back to the linebacker to provide depth, as well as being our focal B-back. He really did not come off the field much at all on offense. It's one of the most trusted guys we had, just because of the fact that we knew when it was crunch time, just little things like ball security, gaining extra yards, knowing the pass protection game, who he was supposed to pick up, and being a very able blocker in the pass protection scheme. His crunch time was one of those guys we really wanted on the field to rely on. Just the little things he did, and the little things he brought to the game. Best thing for me coaching a guy like Richard is the fact that he was so coachable, but more importantly, I didn't have to tell him the same thing twice. Usually, even going back to 10th grade year, I told him one thing and he remembered it, he corrected himself, and many times, even before I could provide a correction, he was already telling me what he did wrong. He took a real big leadership role with some of the younger guys, where if we had a younger guy on the field in a huddle, he often would stand with them and help them out with plays. Just was a great teammate in that aspect, and encouraging the younger guys and helping them out as another coach on the field. Just made it very easy. So, Richard, appreciate everything you've done. You will truly be missed, just because, again, just the little things that you did in season, every single practice, playing through injury, never wanted to come off the field, and just doing things the right way on the football field. Do appreciate everything you've done. You've been a big part of this success the last 3 years, and do wish you the best of luck moving forward. All right, Ryan Hamburger. Where do I begin? Ryan was a first-year kicker for us this year. He was a previous soccer player who transitioned to playing football this year. It makes it very easy working with soccer players. They just have a lot of natural instincts when it comes to kicking, and it was a pretty easy transition. Ryan was 15 for 18 in extra points this year, 2 for 3 in field goals with a long of 28. Scored 21 points in 6 games. It was great having Ryan this year. He definitely has a lot of ability. Wish we'd had him longer, because he did some good things, including breaking the play clock, because he liked to hit that when he would not listen. But no, Ryan did a lot of good things. It was a big help this year. It's always easier when you have somebody that just focuses on just kicking, and because I think he would realize that there's a lot of mental parts to the game when you're a kicker, just little technique things that as soon as technique goes wrong, and that was the nice thing about Ryan, is he was very coachable. He a lot of times would recognize what he did wrong as soon as he did it, and was able to correct himself. So Ryan, appreciate everything you did this year. Look forward to seeing how you finish out your senior year and move on the rest of your life, and wish you luck and the best. Alonzo Martin. Alonzo was a running back and linebacker for us this year. This is his first year in high school that he played. We really do wish that he would have played the previous couple of years, or had a couple more years left to play, because Alonzo did some really good things. But took a couple of years off since middle school. Came out for senior year and was a big help. Alonzo contributed in special teams, and was one of the backup running backs and linebackers. Was great throughout the week during scouts, preparing the guys, as well as getting reps behind the starters. He finished with 4 carries for 20 yards, with a long of 11, and he had 2 solo tackles and 3 assists on defense. Again, Alonzo just naturally did some really good things. We wish we had him longer, because when he came out, he had a little bit of learning curve. And once he got rolling, he got into the mix with everything, and it was in 2 position groups that were 2 of our more experienced groups, but definitely did some good things. Really helped a lot in preparation, and again, another year under his belt, and it's been great seeing what he was able to do. Do wish Alonzo the best of luck moving forward in any other sports he may do this year, as well as just life in general. And Alonzo's going to be very successful. And appreciate everything he did for this team this year, and again, just wishing him best of luck moving forward.
Hope all is well and everyone's staying safe in these unprecedented times. It's my pleasure to talk about young man Walter Graves, and whenever I say that name, I got to smile. Walter was our team comedian, and part of it was the language that he used when he transferred here from another school district. he was, shall we say, a bit too colorful for these parts. Walter contributed to our football team in many ways. He helped in the secondary. He also did a picture team during practice, and he was a big-time contributor on our kickoff team. I remember one time I'm in charge of the kickoff team, and I told the guys, and Walter, I said, very good chance this week that you will be double teamed, and you haven't been double teamed before. So you're going to have to do the best you can, try to fight through that double team. So at halftime, I kind of checked in with him, and he said, hey, Coach, I'm struggling. I'm not doing very good with a double team, and that's one thing about Walter. He was pretty honest. He was a straight shooter. So I told him, hey, keep fighting. The only consolation that you have is knowing if you're being double teamed, that means some of your teammates are going to be running free and be able to make the plays that you can't. But he very often in on kickoff. I don't know if he missed a kickoff all season. He was either in on the tackle or very close to that pile because of the efforts and what he wanted to do. Being successful early in his career and throughout his career is very important for Walter. Early in his career, if things didn't go his way, he didn't catch a pass, he didn't make the play, make a tackle, he got very, very upset. In fact, he got so upset that he lost it and had to be, sometimes had to cool down. I'm very proud of what Walter's done over the past 3 years, how he's matured as a young man. Situations now, he gets in those similar situations and things don't work out. He can calmly calm himself down and take care of the situation and still be able to play. Very proud of him. He's improved in that area, and he's improved hopefully in his car driving also. Currently he's at the CTC, and he's in construction and masonry. And I'll tell you this, Walter, I would be glad to write you a recommendation based on your work ethic. This summer, the weight room was outside. We worked outside, and he would really, really work hard on those weights, pushing himself to exhaustion to try to become a better football player. And I'm sure if he transfers those same skills that he used, that same type of effort that he gave outside in the weight room and working out and on football, I'm sure he'll be a success. So I'll be glad to write you a letter for that if you ever need one. Walter, best of luck in everything that you do. We'll definitely miss you, and every time your name will come up, I know there'll be a smile on my face. Thank you for playing.
Number 50, Tyler Nelson. Tyler started his career with us in 2018. He didn't start for us during that season because at his positions, tackle and middle linebacker, we had experienced seniors at both spots. But during two-a-days, we had an injury to one of our tackles. Just like that, Nelly was thrown into the fire as a young 15-year-old. That fire was a Week 1 matchup against the highest-rated tackle in the state versus Warwick. He never backed down. Now, he took his lumps a little, but that helped him grow throughout his first season. And as the season progressed, he began to see more and more time in our different offensive sets, primarily as our extra linemen in big and huge formations. This early playing time helped him develop and get ready for the next 2 years playing at the premier line and defensive positions, left tackle and middle linebacker. As a junior, Nelly made the necessary gains to be successful in the field by taking full advantage of the weight room. His body began to change. Tyler had developed an extraordinary amount of speed in the offseason for his size. This transformation made his transition of being a role player to being a very successful two-way starter take shape. During his junior year, he became one of our most consistent players on both sides of the ball, even with the fact he was making all the defensive calls and playing arguably the toughest offensive line position. As a senior, Tyler took on the complete role of team leader and captain in every sense of the word. Over the summer, I'm not sure anyone worked harder than Tyler. Every single practice over the summer, he was taking 3 or 4 underclassmen and was running extra sprints after practice. It is that kind of leadership that every single coach wants and needs to see out of his seniors. Throughout his senior year, Nelly was our best offensive lineman, continuously grading out as the best lineman after Friday nights. That isn't what I'm most proud of Tyler, though, for. What I'm most proud of Tyler for is his ability to become a coach on the field. He knew everyone's responsibility on both sides of the ball and continuously took underclassmen under his wings. This was laying the groundwork for us as a team for years to come. His work ethic, desire to be great, and ability to lead have now helped us bridge the gap for underclassmen for years to come. He showed every single underclassman what it means to be a team captain and how to go about your work on a day in and day out basis. Coaches are not supposed to have favorites, but this group of linemen that we have had for the last 3 years, being led by Nelly, has been my favorite. We as a staff and program owe a tremendous amount to this group, and I will forever be grateful for every single one of you. Nelly, your leadership cannot be replaced, but you have laid the groundwork for it to be duplicated. This program thanks you. Number 50, Tyler Nelson. Number 54, Trent Martin. Trent started his Ephrata High School career making the jump right from A-team to the high school, bypassing on the junior high, a jump that usually makes it very difficult to see significant playing time on the varsity. His journey was rather rare. Not only did he see significant time, he started as our tight end. At 160 pounds sophomore, he was very successful at his spot. In the time between his sophomore and junior seasons, Trent worked his tail off and saw the benefits of being in the weight room every single day. He put on a significant amount of size. With that size he put on, he in turn lost a little speed. The little speed he had. No offense, Trent. To be successful at tight end. When we inquired whether he'd be willing to help the team at another position, offensive line, in typical Trent fashion, he made the switch. Trent will do whatever is best for his team. He is the ultimate team player. During his junior season, he saw some setbacks were completely out of his control. He took every day in hand and made the most of it during his 11th grade campaign. Again, in between his 11th and 12th grade seasons, Trent did everything asked of him in the off-season to give his team the best chance to be successful, killing it in the weight room to get stronger. Then another setback, outside of his control, the COVID shutdown. He continued to do workouts on his own and even had members of the team work out with him outside the school. Then when we were able to reconvene and start our season, Trent was ready to be the anchor of our offensive line at center. He was having a great summer camp, and 2 days in, another setback. He dislocated his elbow. Again, in typical Trent Martin fashion, he took it in stride, got a gigantic arm brace within a week, and was back on the field. This season, he was my most reliable lineman. Never the biggest, strongest, or fastest, but found a way using angles and great footwork to do his job. All I ever ask of my linemen is to do their own respected jobs to the best of their ability. Trent's ability to be in the right spot on every offensive play made this unit the past season for me very, very successful, and probably the most successful group I've had in my time at Ephrata. This school and football team will miss people like Trent Martin dearly. Luckily for us, he is one of the few that have set the bar and standards for those to follow to see what it takes to be the very best football player you can be. Trent, I cannot thank you enough for what you have done for our team and our school. Your steady presence around the team 12 months every year will be tough to replace. Thank you, Trent Martin.
Hello, Mountaineer Nation. Coach Harding coming at you here at the 2020 football banquet, my senior spotlight. I have Griffin Snyder, and the first recollections of knowing Griff was through his sister, and that really didn't help him a whole lot because of some of the shenanigans she pulled in my classroom. But I soon found out that Griff was going to be a special kind of person. 3-year starter, and knew everything about the offensive line, defensive line. Probably within the first 2 or 3 weeks, we were having our little get-togethers. So he knew football. He knew what he should have been doing. He was a great student of the game. Kid was always reliable, always dependable. His senior year, he could have ran the drills for me. Okay, he was just someone you can always depend on. He was just someone to have great to be around. I'm not really sure what next year is going to be like with not having Griff around. It seems like he's been here for the last 10 years. Just every practice you go to, there's Griff. But we all have to move on, and I'm sure I'll find ways to adjust too. I am very glad that I did get to know him. I think he's a unique individual, just special as far as football. He heart and soul, I thought, the last 3 years of our team. Okay, football meant something to him. He loved the game. He worked hard for it. His mindset was always great. But one of the things that I will remember most about Griff was during one practice, Coach Sersner got a little upset, and he might have said something like, "Shucks, darn it, gee willikers, guys," something like that, maybe a little bit stronger. And after practice, he got all the linemen together and he wanted to apologize for the language he used. And he got about halfway through that, and Griff's like, I looked at him and I could tell I was surprised because he was mad. And he blurts out, "You don't have to do that." He goes, "Your job is to motivate us," and that's what that was. That was motivation. And no one could see me, but I was smiling ear to ear, ear to ear. I just absolutely loved that kid, And hearing that, okay, when he said that to Coach Sturgeon, it just made me like think of him, at another higher level. It just was, very heartwarming to hear that statement. So, Griff, you were a piece of work, brother. Okay, good luck to you. Hope your dream of flying planes comes true. Come pick me up sometime. All right, we'll fly around the world, see some sights. All right, thank you. Zachary DeBella, and my recollections of Zach go back to actually through his brother Brad. When I had Brad in class, and Brad was an athlete at Ephrata, we were trying to get Brad out for the football team, and that didn't work. So we're trying to hopefully get Zach out, and we did get Zach out, thankfully. And I think Zach was one of the people that could be responsible for the turnaround here at Ephrata as far as getting some wins under our belts. He was a 3-year starter, played for me on the defensive line, could play the run, loved sacking the quarterback. He played banged up some nights, okay, little nicks here, shoulder injuries, ankle injuries, but Friday nights he did come to play. One of the interesting things from this year is for some reason Zach didn't have a lot of trust in me when I offered haircuts for him. Showed up early in the year and I wasn't quite sure his hairstyle was what it could have been, and I offered my services to help him there, but he declined. I don't know why, but the offer still goes, Zach. If you need a haircut, come see me. I will miss having him around. He was, like I said, a 3-year starter. He was always there. Seems like he's been around a long time too. Always there at practices, always there at games. It's going to be a little bit hard to adjust to not having him around anymore. One of the I talked about him being one of the turnaround players, and my favorite story with the DeBella family was one of Zach's early years. We had a problem of players not being focused on game nights, to the point where I saw players standing along the fence behind our on our sidelines eating French fries from their friends and or family members. That's not very conducive to a winning football program. And one game last year, the game was out of hand. We were winning, and I turned around, and Zach's back at the fence talking to on the railing, I should say, and he's talking to these two people. And I said, "Hey, Zach, can you come up here, cheer on your teammates?" And he walked up to me. He goes, "Coach Harding, those are my relatives. I only get to see them like once every 5 years." So I was the idiot that night, okay, and his dad kind of glared at me a little bit, so I did go apologize, and I hope things are okay on his side, but I was just trying to get the whole thing turned around, and maybe that one didn't work out real well for me. But Zach's been a pleasure. I wish him luck. If he ever needs anything, I hope he doesn't hesitate, come and ask me if he thinks I can be any service to him. So thank you there, Zachary, and good luck to you, buddy.
Our next senior that we'd like to recognize is our manager, Kayla Holy. Kayla has been with the program for 3 years, and she has done an outstanding job as our manager. If you've ever seen my desk, you know that I'm not the most organized person in the entire world. Kayla's number one job was to make sure that we stay organized and make sure that all the paperwork was taken care of. She would collect any type of forms we needed, pass out forms to the kids, and she would be in charge of making sure who hasn't turned in stuff. She was also the one that every Thursday would come down to me, find out what uniforms we were wearing, and then lay them out nicely and orderly so that players could simply stop by, pick them up, and then head out to practice. She's also done an outstanding job working with Avery and Madison, teaching them about what it means to be a football manager. Additionally, Kayla this year took on plenty of additional responsibilities with helping us with the sanitation, water distribution, and making sure our players are staying safe. All of these things will help her in her career as she moves forward to head to nursing school. I think she is going to make an outstanding nurse, and I thank her for all the time and the commitment that she's put into this program. We're going to greatly miss her, and I hope to hear about the great things that she's going to do moving forward. Thank you again, Kayla. Thank you for your time. Thank you for keeping me organized, and I wish you the best. At this time, we would like to recognize our players that were nominated and earned recognition by the LO Quarterback Club for their football all-star team and then also for their academic all-star team. Those individuals earning recognition as 2020 LO QB football all-stars on the offensive side of the ball were first teamers wide receiver Brock Boyer and athlete Andre Weidman. On second team, running back Richard Greer, wide receiver Taj London, tight end Owen Moringello, and kick returner Taj London. As honorable mentions, we had guard Griffin Snyder, tackle Tyler Nelson, and kicker Ryan Hamburger. On the defensive side of the ball, we had first team all-stars outside linebacker Owen Moringello, defensive back Andre Weidman, and defensive back Brock Boyer. As second team all-stars, we had inside linebacker Tyler Nelson, outside linebacker Zach Juanas, defensive end James Ellis, long snapper Zach Juanas. And as honorable mention, we had our punter Brock Boyer. We had a number of players also recognized as academic all-stars. On the first team, which was a 3.75 to a 4.0 cumulative unweighted GPA, we had Coy Schwanger, Weston Nolt, James Ellis, and Drew Hurst. On second team, which is a 3.5 to a 3.749 cumulative unweighted GPA, we had Brock Boyer, Elijah Knowles, Zach Juanas, Griffin Snyder, and Joey Gunzenhauser. And as honorable mention, which was a 3.25 to a 3.495 cumulative unweighted GPA, we had Tyler Nelson, Marshall Mondo, Connor Worley, Ryan Hamburger, and Jaden Mabry. Congratulations to all of these individuals. This is a testament to your hard work and your dedication, both in the classroom and on the field. It is my honor and privilege to present the 2020 Scout Team Player of the Award this year. Scout Team is a thankless job. You have to learn the opposing team's offense, the opposing team's defense, and get beat up by the varsity team each and every day. There's no newspapers, no TV stations, no Blue Ridge cable. They're filming your performance to give you the accolades that you deserve. But we truly could not succeed and win football games without the dedication and the hard work of our scout team. And at this time, we'd like to recognize the 2020 Scout Team Player of the Year, Mr. Anthony Stidham. Anthony did a great job playing linebacker and running back. He would be the one that was constantly blitzing in the backfield, wreaking havoc on our offense, and he got a bulk load of the scout team carries on offense. We could not have been very successful without Anthony Stidham and the rest of his scout team and putting the effort that they did. So thank you to Anthony Stidham, and thank you to all of our players that help prepare us each and every week.
Good day, everybody. I have the honor of presenting the Joe Bowder Award. Joe was a former Ephrata student, athlete, teacher, coach, and community member who was lost way too soon. The award goes to an underclassman who exemplifies his characteristics, and three that I think of, again, that fit in are toughness, honest, and problem solving. You know, I told this story and I got to tell it again. Joe Bowder one time was working, he did some jobs on the side, and he had a nail gun, accidentally shot himself in the hand with the nail, so the nail's sticking in his hand. He pulls it out, gets some duct tape or whatever's handy, tapes it back up, goes back to work. And I often used to hear the phrase, this guy's as tough as nails. Well, I always use the phrase, Joe, he was tougher than nails. So the young man that I think of, too, also exhibited some toughness in practice. I remember one week he was kind of hobbled with some leg injuries, and he was hobbling around, but he worked through it, and he did everything that was asked of him during that week and was able to participate in the game the following Friday. And honesty, as far as honest, another characteristics of this young man, I'd go to approach him, and as you go to approach him to tell him to give some advice or make corrections, he'd say, I know, Coach, I should have been deeper in the flat. I know, Coach, I jumped that arrow instead of being deeper. He was always honest. He was, if he made a mistake, he knew what he had done, and he was welcome, open to criticism, and would accept the responsibility for what he was, not looking to make excuses. And the third part I think of as a problem solver. I know one time Joe made goalposts, I believe, out of PVC tubing for the practice field and the football field. And the player who wins this award also did some things. I remember one time at halftime, problem solving, he'd come up and we talked through some adjustments that we could make in the secondary to help us cover things and do a better job of covering that thing, getting football players from our secondary to the ball to make plays. I think everything can be summed up for this athlete to me in one play that he made against Donegal. He was rushing the quarterback, very athletic, jumped up, has huge hands, intercepted the football, came down with it, and continued to run and got us inside the 10-yard line and set up an easy score for us because of his athletic ability. And statistically, on offense, he had 54 touches for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 67 tackles, 5 of them for losses. He was involved with 4 fumbles or fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions, and he had 2 pass breakups and deflections. So, tremendous athlete, very nice young man, pleasure to coach and work with him. It's my honor to present the Joe Bowder Award to Andre Weidman. Congratulations, Andre.
Jason Jules Heister Award. This award is given to the senior who best exemplifies the qualities that Jules demonstrated during his time at Ephrata High School as an athlete and as a student, and as a coach. Jason loved Ephrata football. He bled purple and gold through and through. His loyalty and commitment to the program were second to none. This showed in his work ethic on and off the field. It is our belief as a staff that during his playing time and coaching for the high school, he exemplified what we as a staff try to instill by winning all day. Jason won in the classroom, in the community, and of course on the field of play. It is with tremendous honor that I get to present this award as an outsider up until about 5 years ago. It's even bigger an honor that I get to present 2 extraordinary young men with this honor. We as a staff felt we had 2 incredible athletes on our squad that exemplified what Jules stood for and who he was during his time with us at Ephrata. The first is Trent Martin. Trent, as I previously mentioned, had to endure many setbacks in his playing time here for us at the high school. First starting as a tight end in 2018, then like we wished him to, he worked his tail off in the offseason. No offense, Trent, you lost a step or 2. We asked him to move down inside to play offensive line. Without even batting an eye, he didn't question the decision. He moved. I will do what's needed for the betterment of this team, Coach. To then having to battle all season long with Lyme disease, which hurt his stamina, also his performance had had, as it would for anyone in his situation. Again, he hit the weight room all winter long, getting stronger and even getting faster. Then COVID happens. Without even hesitating, Trent and his brother Travis began leading off-season workouts for the rest of the team on their own. Again, something a young man does when his sole goal is to make the team better. He comes to us mid-summer, probably in the best shape he's been since his sophomore year, and stronger. To say I was excited was an understatement. He was ready to excel at center for me for the offensive line. Week of Warwick. He dislocates his elbow. No problem for Trent. He gets the biggest arm brace I've ever seen up close the following week to make sure he doesn't let his teammates down. Trent plays the whole year with what we describe as a staff with a robot arm. The thing was massive. Trent, you are what coaches all over the nation look for in one's work ethic to build a team around. We wish we could have 45 kids just like you. You have reset the bar on what it means to be the ultimate team player and one who will do everything he can to make us better. Thank you, Trent. The second deserving Jules Award winner is Griffin Snyder. First and foremost, I will for one find it very difficult to find someone who works as hard as Griff every single day on and off the field. It is without a doubt Griffin will succeed in every endeavor in his life because of his work ethic. Griff was never the biggest, strongest, had the best footwork, or no offense pal, the quickest, but I never questioned in 3 years, even when he was a scrawny short sophomore, if Griff could get the job done. I knew he would find a way to do just enough. As a sophomore, Griff was thrown into the fire right away, starting for me at right guard, a spot he wouldn't give up for his entire 27 games. He played next to Arturo, and at the time I didn't realize how that would help me down the road. Playing next to an experienced player like him, it allowed Griffin to learn his position through and through, and also everyone else's responsibilities. He knew all the schemes at every spot. I leaned on him tremendously the last 2 years, getting the guys he played next to in the correct assignments. Him and Trent both had a great knowledge of all of our schemes, further testament to their desire to put the team first over individual accolades. Griffin's time with us had his own setbacks. He broke his wrist junior year. He didn't miss a game. He made it back onto the practice field 2 days later with his club. He was going to do whatever he needed to help the team. As a senior, he again outworked everyone in the weight room. Day in and day out, he led the workouts and was the shining example of what our program can do for someone if they follow it. When COVID happened, he along with Trent helped organize our workouts. When we got back together, he was ready to go. Griffin had another very Griff-type season. He rarely jumped off the screen of film to the naked eye. But as a staff, if you watched, it was very seldom he was in the wrong place. He also had his partner at the tackle position getting to the correct spots every single play. Griffin is the prototypical lineman that wins with intelligence first, and then allows his athletic ability to take over. He was very adept at taking the proper angles to get to his spot. Trent and Griff, you two are guys I will miss dearly, and our program will miss more. We luckily have had them lay the groundwork for our younger players to follow in their footsteps. These two have set the path for everyone else to follow. We cannot begin to thank you enough. We're Jason Jules Huester Award winners, Trent Martin and Griffin Snyder.
Hi everyone. The 2020 offensive MVP is Brock Boyer. Brock was a huge part of our offense this year and was, the last couple years. But this summer, Brock really transformed his body. He came back at the start of the season. He was stronger. He was faster. And every day or every time our offensive coaching staff met, whether it was to put in a game plan or to install stuff during summer camp, we always asked the question, how do we get Brock involved? How do we get Brock touches? Where do we line Brock up at? And Brock was our H on offense, and typically he's lining up in the slot, and we try to get him matched up on some linebackers. But we also split him out at times, being the single receiver if we like to match up on a corner. Or sometimes we use him as a decoy. We understood how good he was, and other coaches know how good he is. So he would often draw the attention of at least a safety and a linebacker, and that allowed other guys on offense to do their thing. So for people watching, those kind of things go unnoticed. But they're a big piece of what we were trying to do on offense. Brock had about 50 yards on the ground and a touchdown, and he also had 13 receptions for a team-high 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. So statistically speaking, he accounted for a big piece of our offense as well. Just a couple other points here that I would like to make that I think, that made Brock special this past year is, he really took it upon himself to learn the offense. We asked him to do a lot at that position, and it's a lot of terminology, and it's a lot of different routes. He's involved in the running game, the passing game, just a lot going on. And I didn't go back and watch the film or tabulate it, but I'd be willing to bet he was probably in 90% of the snaps on offense at H, and it could have been more, to be honest, on top of playing defense and on top of playing special teams. So for someone who had a lot on his plate, he handled it tremendously well. The other thing that I think set Brock apart, and we don't have too many guys like this that just show up every single day and practice and go through every single drill and don't complain when they don't get the football, don't complain when things are going bad, just the consistent, steady performance. The ultimate team guy, incredibly coachable, We could always take another 10 Brocks on the team. We will certainly miss Brock. We'll miss him offensively, but we'll just miss the intangibles that he brought, his leadership and his just workman-like mentality where his play did all the talking. So, Brock, this award's well-deserved, and we'll miss you on offense. Congrats.
It is my privilege and my honor to present the 2020 Defensive MVP Award. This award was given based on the feedback from our football team and our coaches. This individual had certainly one of the most outstanding defensive performances that I have seen. In 7 games, he has accumulated 82 total tackles, 45 of those solos, 37 of those being assists, 4 hurries, 1 block kick, and 2 fumble recoveries. For his career in 3 seasons, he has 163 total tackles, 90 of them are solos, 73 of them are assists. He has 1 pass breakup, 19 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks, 5 hurries, a block kick, an interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. This individual certainly wreaked havoc from his outside linebacker position. He was somebody that opposing teams had to scheme for, and they had to know where he was on the field at all times. The biggest testament that I can think about this player is last year when we were getting ready to play Lebanon. The coaches were all in a panic because number 1 couldn't be found anywhere on the field. They had schemed their offense and their defense to figure out, we want to run away from him or he's going to take us to the football on offense. His hard work and his dedication made him be one of the best players on the LL Section 3, and that's why he was nominated as a first team and received first team honors from his outside linebacker position. Congratulations to this year's Defensive MVP, number 1, Owen Moringello. The last award that we're going to give out is the 2020 Mr. Mount. This award is voted on by the football team. It goes to the person that most epitomizes the culture that we are trying to create with Ephrata football. This is a person that is the poster child for the win all day philosophy. They win on the field, they win in the classroom, and they win in the community. This award comes with a custom engraved watch with this person's initials engraved on the back of it. It is my honor and privilege to present this year's Mr. Mount Award to Mr. Brock Boyer. Brock has been a valuable member of this team for the past 3 years. He was elected as a captain this year by his teammates, and he is certainly a deserving individual for this award. Congratulations, Brock, and thank you for your years of service to the Ephrata football program. So this concludes our 2020 awards and senior recognition video. Again, it is with disappointment that we didn't get to sit together and have our normal banquet and present these awards in person. But again, congratulations to all of our seniors and all of our award winners. Before we close, I'd like to say thank you to a few people. First and most importantly, my wife and my family that give up their time with me in the fall so that I'm able to coach. I'd like to thank my coaching staff on high school and junior high for all of the time and dedication they put in and take times away from their families to make our program better. I'd like to thank our booster club with all their work behind the scenes, from providing meals for the kids on Fridays in between games, to providing the great spirit wear and the nice windbreakers we got this year, to every single thing that they can do to build this program, make this program better. They have been nothing but supportive. The Ephrata Gridiron Club has put funds into this program that can allow us to continue and build and make ourselves better each and every week. The parents of our players, whether it was from doing our dirty laundry to picking your kids up at practice or supporting us at games, thank you for your time, and we appreciate what you mean to this program. And lastly, and most importantly, our football players. Without you guys, there's no way that we can have a season. I know this season was not what anyone would have wanted or would have hoped for. Back in August, I don't think anyone would have believed that we would have got 7 games in. but with the way that you guys went about your business and took care of the sanitizing and all of the extra precautions that we had to be part of this year, you made this possible for us to get our 7 games in. A couple of things, I said this out in an email earlier when our season came to an end, that I want to nominate or recognize our senior class for. First off, this is the 3rd straight non-losing season for Ephrata football. That's the first time since that happened since the 1990, 91, and 92 seasons. This senior class is going to graduate with 15 total career wins, which is the most since any class since the graduating class of 2005. And they'll also have the highest career winning percentage, which is 55%. Again, this is the most since 1990, 91, and 92 senior class. All of those things are a testament to what they have put in this program. We talk about each and every year that we want to raise the bar as a program. This senior class certainly did that each and every year. They learned how to be leaders as sophomores and helped us break the losing streak. As juniors, they continued to push the bar with the help of the last year's senior class. And this year they became the leaders, and they started to set the standard for this team. Now it is up to our underclassmen to carry on their legacy. It is your responsibility to raise the bar. Take what you've learned from these seniors and push that forward as you enter your junior and senior seasons. We need to continue to grow our program, whether it's through off-season commitment or through playing other sports or through recruiting other players out. We need the best athletes in Ephrata to be playing football. Our goal is not to finish in 2nd place. Our goal each and every year is we want to find a way to be section champions. This is the closest we've been to that goal, and we need to continue to get closer and closer. Each and every year we have to close the gap. How do we close the gap? We close the gap by what we do from now until we start again in August. Right? It's not one of those things where we can be semi-committed to being a great football player or being a great athlete. It's going to take full commitment. What does full commitment look like? Full commitment looks like doing something year-round. Whether that's playing a winter and spring sport and training for football in the summer, or whether that's training for football all year round. But in order to be the best version of yourself, you have to be constantly doing something. That includes doing your work in the classroom and doing stuff outside of school. We can't expect in August to show up and be ready to play football. I have no idea what this offseason has in store for us. And no one would have anticipated what our last offseason had in store for us. We have to be prepared to take on and conquer whatever is in front of us, whether we can train together as a full team or whether we have to train individually. Everyone is part of this program. Everyone means something to this program. We would not be here without each and every individual, and we need each and every individual moving forward to sell out to get us to our ultimate goal. Again, thank you to everybody involved in this program. It is my privilege and my honor to be the head coach of this program. I couldn't do it without all of you watching this video right now, and I look forward to what our future successes are going to be. Again, thank you for taking our time to watch this video, and again, congratulations to all of our award winners and our seniors. All your awards can be picked up in my classroom at any time during the school day. And again, thank you for your time. Go Mount.